tube guide, we are going to be creating arcs that are tangent to other arcs. One arc is going to be going opposite direction of two smaller arcs, and the other arc is going to be going in a continued direction of the two smaller arcs. So one of the easiest ways that we can start this idea is looking for known points on both drawings. So center point A, and I'm looking at this, and to find the center points of the two smaller arcs, I need to come down from the center point 1 1/2 inch. So I'm going to measure down from my center point 1 1/2 inch. And right now I did not leave myself enough room below. My T-squares down here kind of disrupting me. So I'm just going to use a solid inch mark, so 5 inch. So I'm going to come down to 6 1/2 because that is the 1 1/2 inch mark for me. Okay, you don't always have to measure it right at the 1 because sometimes we just have stuff in the way. Okay, so just make sure you're being accurate. When I taped down my paper, I made sure that I taped it so that my parallel bar was horizontal with this line. So now at that 1 1/2 inch mark, I'm going to draw a construction weight line that is horizontal or parallel to the given line. The next piece of information that I have, another measurement that I can go off of, is that it's 1 inch spacing between the two center points. And this item is symmetrical, meaning that it's the exact same measurements on the left and the right. Sorry, I'm gesturing backwards there, but it's the same dimensions. So since this has a 1 inch measurement or 1 inch distance between these two center points, I'm going to line up my ruler. I'm going to make a mark. So I'm going to have it so that 1/2 inch mark is on the center line. I'm going to make a dot right at the 0 and at the 1. These marks are going to serve as the center points for my two circles. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to grab an index card because we never ever put our compass up against the softer plastic of our scale. And I'm going to set my radius, it gave me a radius here, for 5/16 of an inch. So I'm going to make a mark at both the 0 and the 5/16 mark. Each of these tiny little lines is a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to come to the 5th one, make a mark, and I'm also going to label it so I can come back to that same measurement later. Okay, I'm going to need that when I come back to darken in what my final lines are going to be. So now I'm going to set my compass to that dimension, and I'm going to do a practice swipe. Oh, how's that for luck? It went right across that mark exactly on the first try. That's pure luck today, guys. I'm just not that good. So now I'm going to put my compass right in that center point, and I'm going to give it a twirl, and I'm not pressing down very heavy because I always want to start with very light construction weight lines. The reason for that is if I really mess up, it's easier to erase light lines than the dark object lines. So I can always go back and restart from the beginning if I need to. So I have my two starting lines here, okay, my two starting circles. The next thing I'm going to want to do, I need to find this center point for this smaller arc that connects the two of them, okay? And that smaller arc has a radius of 7/16. Now pretty much the rule is if it changes direction, you're going to add these two radii together. So 7/16 plus 5/16, 7 plus 5 equals 12/16, which is the same as 3/4. Okay, so they're gonna, if it changes directions, we're gonna add. So I'm gonna set my compass to 3/4 of an inch. And that's just so I can find the center point for where this arc is going to go. So I'm back to my index card. I'm going to come to 3/4 of an inch, label it, always label it. And I'm going to open up my compass using the wheel, and then I'm going to do a practice swipe. Okay, and that went right through the dot, so that's where I need to be. What we're doing with this 3/4 of an inch is we're locating that center point. So I'm going to put the sharp tip right in the center of that small circle again, and I'm going to make an arc, pick it up, put it in the other one, and make an arc. That right there is going to serve as our center point for this 7/16 radius. Now I am ready to darken that in, so I need to get my compass set to 7/16. And it's very important that you measure very carefully each time. I'm going to write this down below. Label it. Okay, for a precision drafting class, having precise measurements is absolutely imperative. So I'm using the wheel to close this up. Take a practice swipe. It went right through that dot, so that's pretty good. And now I'm going to place my compass right in the intersection of those two arcs. Okay, and I am going to draw my arc. And I'm going to go over it one more time nice and dark, because that arc is exactly the object that I want to keep. Okay. And I can come through with my eraser shield and clean up this little bit that I went overboard on. Okay, that's a little oopsie. But before I do my final cleanup, I need to get this last arc. Okay, so when you're changing directions, okay, instead of continuing on in this circle, we added this radius. But now instead, we're going to be continuing on in the same direction. So when you continue in the same direction, you're going to subtract the radii. So I have a radius of 1 1/4 minus my 5/16, which is going to give me 15/16 of an inch. So that's the distance I need to set my compass in order to find the center point right here for this larger arc. Index card comes out again. 15/16 of an inch. Always label it. Okay. And now I'm going to put that arc it across the center line here, pick it up, arc it across the center line here, and that will be my center point for my 1 1/4 inch radius. Coming again. And I know a lot of people are just wondering, why don't I just put it up against the ruler and set it that way? That sharp end of your compass will start chipping away at this. Plus, again, I will be coming back and reusing some of these measurements. So it's good to already just have them marked out so you don't have to keep guessing and seeing, oh, that's close enough. There's no such thing as close enough. It has to be exact. So this is 1 1/4 inch. I'm going to use my wheel to open that up. It goes right through it. So now I'm going to put the tip right in that intersection that we just created. I went a little high. There we go. And remember, you can darken your arcs based on how many times you go over it or how hard you press down. So I have two object lines. The last thing I need to do is come back and darken in these two arcs into dark object lines. So I'm going to come back to my 5/16 of an inch. And the last thing I'll do is I'll use my eraser shield to come through and help me erase any areas where I have gone a bit beyond where I was supposed to go. If I had made really dark construction lines, I can go lighten those up. But you're going to want to have very nice, clean object lines, clean intersections. Okay, I'm seeing some areas that I need to clean up because I got a little excited with that compass. Okay, and that is how you make a tube guide.